the elected officials are provided basically no benefits. Is that correct?
I think it may be easy to respond to an example. I think it may be easier to respond to an example, or I'm not familiar with that position. I haven't heard it before.
Well, I'm just saying that according to what I know or don't know, right, wrong, or indifferent, the fact that you are an elected official does not come with that, like health insurance or medical insurance or any other thing. Now, if I'm wrong on that, then I need to know that. And I'm also here to say that according to people that have been around a lot longer than I have, that if we come to a decision that we want to provide additional services beyond what the salary is, then one way to accomplish that is by recommending a salary increase to cover those expenses. But I don't know. Mark, do you have any knowledge, prior knowledge of that?
No, I don't. Prior knowledge of what?
Is there any elected official that's receiving health benefits?
No.
No.
May I ask?
Yeah, I'm just,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Dental,
Go ahead.
dental, some of them do get dental, they have to pay into it.
Elected
Yes.
officials, but they pay for their own
Yeah.
totally?
They, totally, I don't know, but I know I do pay.
I don't know.
I think the county attorney can have health benefits, but I don't think he take it this year,
That's
maybe
true.
next time. So I think officials can get health benefits, I guess. The county attorney can get it.
Well,
I think the last county attorney probably had.
it was my
benefits.
understanding that the county attorney traded health benefits for salary.
Sorry.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily come with the job, but was specific to that particular attorney. I don't know.
I'd have to look at that.
Okay.
You get help. I think the decision was made, I'm just going by memory, this previous sheriff had health benefits. I think the decision was made that they.
I can't hear you.
The decision was made, the previous sheriff did have health benefits. I think the decision was made that by the delegation to offer health benefits to the elected individual, but not family. Like not, they'll offer the one person plan, but not the family plan for elected where it's offered. The family plan is offered to everyone else at an expense. So, yeah, they do get benefits. I don't think Sheriff Conley took it because he has his benefits from state police.
So it's your understanding that elected officials and is it full-time elected officials? I mean,
Yeah, so, I mean, I was here when they voted for the sheriff's salary, and it's salary and health insurance for one. And I get mine, I'm eligible for health care through the military, so I haven't used that benefit. I don't know what it is for the other.
Must be the same.
well, I guess it should be the same. Salary plus health for one. Okay. Is there anything else that anybody's aware of?
I have a hand up for 15 minutes.
Are you aware of other benefits that they... that-
According to state law,
I'm not,
The delegation is responsible for awarding salaries and all benefits to elected and appointed department heads in the county,
right, I
and
understand,
only the delegation.
I understand that, and that's what I'm trying to get to, is
All benefits.
where do we stand on that? Across, across the county.
Well, I guess to answer your question succinctly, is that I'm a working sheriff.
Can't hear you.
I'm a working sheriff, and if issuing a gun is a benefit, then I submit to you that it's not, and that it's a tool of the trade. And so, under my office, all offices, sworn, part-time, are issued a full complement of equipment.
Okay, let me ask you a question. May I?
Sure.
Do you agree that under the Teamsters contract, since you are a manager, that is explicitly stated in the contract that you are not covered by that contract? I'm asking you a question.
That's a correct statement, Mr. McCarthy.
You know that,
That is
okay?
an absolutely correct statement, and it's totally, has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Okay.
Well, I think it does.
Oh, I'm
Because
quite
part of
sure
the-
that it doesn't, sir.
Part of the benefits in that contract
Part of the benefits.
are uniform allotments and dry cleaning ability, to have your dry cleaning done. Now, you are not covered by the contract.
No, I'm not.
You're not. Okay. One other question, and I already checked with the commissioners and the delegation, but I'm going to ask you, do you have a special agreement with either the commissioners or the delegation to give you particular benefits other than your health care and whatever? Do you have any agreement?
I guess I got an agreement, a constitutional agreement to run this office. He's not in the contract. You want to take his belt and his gun and his uniforms away from him?
No.
Well, that's what you said, Mr.
No, I'm
McCarthy.
not.
This man is not in the contract.
All right,
He's a lieutenant.
all right. That's it.
So let's apply your logic, or lack thereof, to him.
Okay, let us not get into a contest. What I'm trying to.
Oh, I think he wants to draw us into a
Well,
contest. This is what
I
this
want-
man is all about. He likes to
Scott,
cast
stop.
aspersions.
Stop, please, both of you. What this is about is, how do we want to discuss, do we want to say that the sheriff gets this, okay, which is his belt and his gun and his whatever?
Why doesn't this Marine come down in my world for about a week? And I think
Please.
he'll have a full
Please.
understanding of what we do.
Please. And the other half of the question is, do we want to say that the salary, or even provide a salary increase to cover such things as the need for dry cleaning, for boots, for whatever? And the other question is, do we suggest to the commissioners that they look at the county attorney and say, well, the county attorney, we want him to look nice, so he should get his dry cleaning done as well? And do we want to raise the salary? It's my understanding that for elected officials, that is the best way to handle the situation, is through a change in the salary structure with an understanding that those sort of miscellaneous expenses, is what I'll call them, are part of the salary. Now, the commissioners, or the delegation, as I understand it, could also say that within the budget, there is authorized $50 for cleaning for the sheriff. Okay? or whatever number you wanna, I mean, I'm just using that as an example. But I do concur that there are some things that are associated with the sheriff that are not associated with anyone else. Like the gun, like the belt, like the bullets. I don't know what else, but those are things that are just, nobody else in the county would need that. I mean, maybe we would, but we don't, So I guess what my thought is that we have sort of a two-tier process here that we need to come to grips with. And I would like to have a recommendation from the sheriff as to how he thinks this should be, we should come to grips with it, whether it's through salary, whether it's through some other methodology. And then he would also need to go to the, if he chooses not to do it through salary, then he would need to go to the commissioners to think about that as well. Yes, Mark?
If I could add to that. The sheriff, by virtue of his experience and where he's worked, is saving us a tremendous amount of money on the health insurance side, even as a single individual. And I believe the county attorney is doing that, I think, at the same at this point in time.
Yes, please.
I would almost think it should be approached in two tiers. Number one, that if that elected official were to take that service, which is to be health for an individual, then they might not be entitled to level 2, which might be, I cannot believe that dry cleaning, a gun, a belt, a suit to appear in court if he chooses, that is his uniform there as opposed to a dress uniform, that there would be an allowance for that. And I think that's well within, when we start discussing, I think your discussion is very good, because when we get into setting elected officials' salaries, so many times we're thinking of X number of dollars and not what it's costing to do that. So I think the discussion's good. I think to turn it over to the sheriff to see where his thoughts are, and he could get back to this later. But I think, especially in light of the fact that an individual may not be taking health insurance, that there might be a second tier of benefits. Now, if that person's taking health insurance and everything else, then perhaps that second tier isn't available. And how much does that second tier cost us? But I think to explain as a benefit as opposed to a salary, I think might be easier for me to digest.
Yes.
I would just caution that you keep in mind that this is indeed an elected official, which means you may or may not have that job again.
Right.
And that the next person could come in who is not covered for benefits under some other organization and might then take the benefits. And then what you're doing then is putting an additional amount on the cost of that person's position.
And that's why Representative Conkey said there would be a two-tier approach. So in other words, salary is, $20,000. If you take if the medical benefits are part of it, then
That's your total cost.
that's your total. However, if you don't take medical benefits, then a certain amount of that, whatever that figure is, it may be $5,000, I don't know how much policy costs, would get added to your salary? Or
would be available to be used, and it has to be line item for where that expense is. So I'm not taking anything away. If we have a new sheriff that needs health insurance, they're entitled to it, and their salary gives them that. What I'm saying is, right now, the sheriff and some other people are saving us a tremendous amount of money.
I understand that.
And so I believe that the sheriff should be entitled to, and if the sheriff comes out and says, I'm entitled to all these things anyways, that's great, and I'd like to hear that. But I'm saying if the sheriff, as an example, is not taking health insurance from us, then we certainly should be able to